When we were younger, Lola, my paternal grandmother, would bake these delicious cinnamon rolls for me and my siblings. My grandparents both lived in Quezon, Palawan, a rural municipal in the Philippines, so we didn't get to see them often. They were missionaries and they dedicated their entire lives to spreading the gospel. They ministered to tribal groups and established a church near their home. Whenever they did get to visit, Lola would always bring these baskets of fresh fruit. She would cook and always make sure that my cousins and I were eating well. Before returning to Quezon, they would always gather donations of clothing or school supplies for needy families in their area. Whatever resources they had, they shared. They were kind and selfless. When I was 11 years old, my family and I moved to the US, and I didn't get to see my grandparents for 8 years. In 2017, I went back to the Philippines, and for the first time since I was a kid, I saw them. A few months later, my dad got a phone call from his sister. He was in the bedroom, and the phone was on the dining table right beside me, so I answered the call. My grandfather had had a heart attack, and when the ambulance got to the hospital, he was pronounced dead on arrival. My dad walked back into the room as I hung up the phone, and I was the one who told him that his father had just died. A year later, my grandmother also passed away. Lolo died on May 22, 2017, and Lola on May 20, 2018. A few days ago, I was talking with a friend of mine from Japan. I told her it was a long weekend, and as I explained Memorial Day, she said, "Oh, so it's a day to remember the dead." I told her that while that was true, it was specifically for the men and women in the US Armed Forces who died in the service of their country. But her words to remember the dead stayed with me. So this Memorial Day, as we honor and remember the brave men and women who laid down their lives for this wonderful country, I also remember two people who were soldiers of a different kind. They fought in a war, and they did it through service and sacrifice, for a kingdom that is not of this world. A kingdom whose fortress is a faithful heart, and whose paths are peace.